Got my 2017 LS XR4150 tractor here. It's got about 250 hours on it, and I just want to post a little video. I just blew the front wheel bearing off of it. Anyways, I've got the, you can see kind of like planetary gear here, and this is the, I guess, the stub axle and the transition gear. I don't know what they call that, but you can see the inboard bearing here still looks okay. Probably replace that. You got the O-rings here, and I don't know if you can really see this, but you look at that outboard bearing is totally gone. Anyways, I'm gonna go figure out what parts I need to fix this, order them, and then I'll be on with it. But I just want to post something up. It doesn't look terribly complicated, but I didn't see anything on this particular tractor. Doesn't appear to be too old. Coincidentally, I believe this is the same as the New Holland Boomer 50. Anyways, thanks. Okay, I'm going to start this video here about the assembly process of this front wheel hub on my LS tractor. The first thing I had to do was, you have the two parts here. We have the spindle and this, you know, the hub or spindle carrier. I don't know what you want to call it. But to assemble these two pieces, let's see if I can show you this here. This thing spins. This is the part where the wheel spins. I'm going to set this over here like this for a moment. And so first thing I did was I put the bearing in with the snap ring. Wasn't really particularly hard to press in. I could just kind of tap very gently around the sides until it all went in. But before I did that, the seals have to be applied, one on the end of the spindle and one on the inside of this. And there's two pieces. They look like this. So it gets pressed in on the one side, and the other one, it looks exactly like, and it's just like this on the other side. These two metal surfaces rub together and they form the actual seal. This just sits in a seat and seals between the pieces. So this is allowed to spin. I suppose this metal here doesn't burn up because you're only going about 5-10 miles an hour, and there's gear oil right behind it. So anyways, that seems like a pretty simple thing. So then I press this thing through, and I just set it up on this, I'm kind of holding my phone here. So I set it up on these little boards, and I just kind of tap this piece in so it's in place. The next part of the process is going to be, first, I want to put in the shims. Now, I measured the two shims that come out of here, and as the thing itself destructed, we got these pieces here. They were pretty much destroyed, but I figured there was two of them in there. We're going to put these shims in here. Then we're going to put this on here, and that's going to be followed by the bearing, and then the nut that you torque down. I think it's 60 foot-pounds or something like that. You just want it nice and snug. I actually have a new one, but it gets peened into place. If you look at the two slots here, it gets peened into place. But the important thing is with the shims and stuff, I'm putting what I thought had in there, but you're supposed to measure the gear lash between this and the gear it engages on the, whatever the part that you call the little stub axle that goes down from the main axle shaft. And so you're supposed to be, these have to be, this thing is going to push this gear closer to the gears it's engaging and make them tighter. So you want them as close as possible without binding. If they're really loose, they're going to be engaging on the smaller part of the gear tooth, and you're going to have more problems. It's like it's not going to be as strong, and it's going to wear out quicker. So it is kind of an important part of it. You want to know what it is. One of these was a 0.5, I believe, and one was a 0.8 when I measured it with my micrometer. This is a step you probably don't want to ignore. Unfortunately, mine kind of self-destructed, and that's I had a little bit of a harder job. It's just going to be a guess, and I'm going to do it by feel because beyond that, there is a description in the actual service manual. I did get mine as a PDF online. If you search, you can find them. They're like $30 or something like that, way better than the $300 that you pay for the paper version. Anyways, I'm going to put this thing together, see what I do. And then, of course, once you get everything together, you assemble it back onto the hub, and we may have that in another segment of video. So I've got my assembled spindle axle here, down here by my tractor, ready to assemble. I've got the lower drain bolt out, so I can set a tool in here to keep this this gear still, so we can check the gear lash. Of course, you want to add or remove shims to make sure that the gear lash, I think it's like 0.2 or something like that. Basically, if you have very little wiggle, you want some wiggle, but very, very, very little wiggle, and then so that's your maximum thing. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to lift it in place, and gently tap it into place. And there's one bolt that's a different bolt. It goes here. I'm not really exactly sure, because since all these holes are the same size, I don't know why it really makes a difference, but there's one bolt that's got to go here. Won't go in any other hole. Unfortunately, I didn't see which way this thing came off. It all looks pretty symmetrical all the way around. Anyways, going to put it back together. I actually already checked this, and the gear lash seems adequate. I do have a little bit of damage. You can kind of see a little bit of damage in it, but I peened this nut. I actually reused the old one. It stopped in a slightly different spot when I torqued it down, so I'm like, what the heck? I did get a new one. It's sitting in my bucket over there, but you know, it's all ready together, so why not? Anyways, we're going to put this thing together now. I didn't catch the video of bolting it back together, filling it with oil, and putting the wheel on, but everything, you know, goes back. It's just the reverse. Pretty easy job. Coincidentally, this is the 50 millimeter socket that I use to torque that nut back down. It's kind of a nice thing to have. I borrowed this from a friend of mine. He didn't have one that big, 3/4 inch drive. Probably a big crescent wrench would do the job just as well. But this was just nice tool to have. And on a final note, I ended up getting my parts from Messick's New Holland. I'd been waiting for probably about a month and a half from the local LS dealer to get the parts. It seems like in the past it was difficult to get parts, or just took forever to get parts through the LS supply chain. My tractor, coincidentally, LS makes the tractors for New Holland, and mine is the Boomer 50 series. I was pretty easily able to cross-reference through the parts diagrams what parts I needed, and I ordered these parts. They came the next day. It was I just got to give a shout out to them. Messick's, they've always been very prompt and good with their service. If I've called them up for advice, they've always seemed to have been pretty helpful for me. So I definitely want to give these guys a hand. They've got a complete supply, and they tell you what they actually have in stock when you go online, and if there may be a problem getting a part. So I definitely have much more confidence in the New Holland supply chain than I do the LS so far. Well, thanks for watching the video, and I hopefully this can help somebody.